John Fisher University in Rochester, New York. The Buffalo Bills are heading back home to Orchard Park. They've spent the time together building chemistry in the dorms right behind us, and now it's time to prepare for the preseason. Their first preseason game this Saturday against the Giants. Welcome into One Bills Live. I'm Maddy Glab, and I'm joined by Steve Tasker as all the packing up is going on right behind us. People hightailed it out of here.
Yeah, they bring everything. I mean, it takes them weeks to pack it up over in Buffalo and bring it over. They bring it over they just like 3 trucks to do it, but they move out all at once, like 20 trucks pulling stuff out of here. So that's going on as we speak. You're right, Maddy. I still like the fact that they come to St. John Fisher. They do get something out of it. I don't think there's any question about it. When you throw guys together like this, you start to get to know each other a little better, hang out a little more. You feel comfortable when you come in the locker room, and it doesn't. And one of the dynamics about being on a team in a sport like the size of football roster, there'll be 65 guys in the locker room. You go in and out of there all day, and there's different guys in and different guys out. You feel comfortable with all of them, no matter who it is. That's pretty cool, and that's this training camp in this setting helps you get to that spot.
All right, give me a training camp highlight.
Wow.
Doesn't have to be on the field. Could be off the field. Could be your experience in Rochester over the last 2.5 weeks, Tasker. You getting a golf out there?
No, I went out. I went out and had a pop with a good buddy of mine. A couple of good buddies of mine last night. That might have been the highlight for me. I hate training camp. I do. I don't have to bond with these guys. No, I think the highlight for me, let me think. I'll say this. I think the highlight for me is getting to know this new squad. For all, for fans, it's the Buffalo Bills and all that. It's a new team every year, and this one's going to be different than last year's. Obviously you got some of the guys that are faces of the franchise, but the guys behind those faces are all different. And I think there's a lot of guys on this squad, particularly young guys, obviously some old guys, but some young guys who are going to have fantastic careers. And to come out and see him, see Tre'Davious White out here as well after the career he has had. But there's going to be some guys on this roster that are going to be around for a while, and that's kind of cool to see. And just for the first time seeing them out here. Yeah,
when you put it that way, how cool is it to witness some of these first, second, third rounders out here practicing in their first training camp practice as an NFL professional? It is cool to kind of see the training wheels come off a little bit as these guys have been through OTAs and they're getting the playbook in their minds and they're figuring out, okay, I understand this, I understand that, so now it's slowing down for me. That's always fun to see. I think a highlight for me has to be the players at this point in the offseason are still in a great space of it is not crazy stressful at this point in the preseason, especially for the vets, guys who aren't fighting for a roster spot. So to get them in that kind of headspace out here for 2.5 weeks, you have some really fun conversations with players. You get to learn about who they are. You get to learn about their families, what they did in the offseason, and kind of build that chemistry with the players between, you and a wide receiver or somebody. And that's my favorite part about training camp is while they're building their chemistry, you also get to work on it with a slew of players.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because you see guys come back. Like we had Osiris Torrance on the show yesterday. And Cybo sits down between Brownie and I, and, just a blink of an eye, he's a third-year player.
I know.
And he always sounds like the young guy, right? Brownie started talking about him being his third year and stuff. I was like, wait, no. But yeah, his second year is completely done. Here it is, his third training camp. Like, oh, my gosh. And even Osiris was sitting here. You could tell he's just like, yeah, this is my thing. I'm comfortable here. This is my vibe. I know my guys. I'm one of the crew. Just a real comfortable professional athlete on a good team with a solidified role. A completely different animal than he was 18 months ago, and it's those kind of transformations happen seemingly overnight. Christian Benford walks in here. We talked about it early in camp. He's the alpha male in the DB room, which is like, wow, think about that.
And that was day one. Christian Benford is out here making plays. The first few days of camp, you're looking around trying to figure out who is that guy that went from someplace at the end of the season last year, but took a big jump heading into the 2025 season.
Right.
And watching the defense, it was easy to see Christian Benford may have not made the biggest jump, but he is so consistent out there in that defense. He understands it so well to this point. His technique is off the charts, and he uses that to get in the way and bat down so many different balls. We saw pass breakup after pass breakup out of Christian Benford in camp.
His play has been top flight. Well, since he was a rookie, he stepped on the field as a 6th-round draft pick and started day one. I mean, that's unprecedented. And that has continued, but he comes out here now, and his role goes so far beyond CB1. I mean, he's putting his arm around Max Harrison. He's talking to he talked to Max Harrison right the moment he got injured. Said a prayer for him right there. He's out here on these one-on-ones when the guys are really competing hard one-on-one. He's chirping at everybody. His guys, their guys. He did not do that 2 years ago. He signed a new contract. He's paid like a number one. He's acting like it. And that's something that I think is a deliberate decision on his part. Said, I'm going to be that guy and give these guys what I wanted from a CB1 when I was playing. And he has really come through in a big way. I think that's been, my highlight, something like that. This question, like, what's your highlight?
Yep.
It goes right into our question for today is, who do you want to see pop in this Giants preseason opener? I mean, Josh and those guys aren't going to play, but who are you going to be watching? And I'll say this too. We were thinking about Keon Coleman and how big a story he has been. People want to see him jump, and you think, okay, he's done this. He had a good day today. They were doing stuff, and what strikes me about Keon, and I hadn't thought about it until you and I started talking about this today, right now. This has been an incredibly different training camp for him, because of how the pressure they have put on him, because of the times they have thrown to him. They are targeting him a ton in this training camp.
Yep.
They want him to grow into that role fast, that big physical number one wide receiver kind of guy. And I think the way he's handling, he's a little bit more comfortable now in his second training camp and going through the injury he did last year and knowing what he knows now that he didn't know just 12 months ago. What a different camp this has been for him as far as expectations, his own, the way he's handled it, the kind of opportunities they've given him. He was a little bit anonymous last training camp. Yep. He couldn't be anonymous in this training camp. They're throwing him the ball all day, every day.
Josh Allen was talking about building chemistry with the new wide receivers, Elijah Moore and Joshua Palmer, this training camp. He threw wide receiver Keon Coleman, a second player, into the mix of guys he's been working with, time on task, to make sure they're on the same page come week one. It's been evident in training camp. They are getting Keon Coleman the ball so much to make sure. Josh, Keon, are you guys in a good spot for week one? Because you have to be, because it's time for Keon Coleman to step up in year two, and we need somebody who's going to be that physical wide receiver at the catch point to go beat up a DB and bring the ball down in the corner of the end zone, which we saw on several different occasions during training camp.
Yeah, he has been a real physical presence in the back end of the defense, has Keon. Certainly he plays that role for the offense, and they've got a couple other guys playing wide receiver that are kind of trying to work into that as well. You get Christian Wilkerson, who is a big dude. Laviska Shenault, also a big dude. So they've got like three guys like Keon, Laviska, and Christian Wilkerson. All three of those guys are built out like that. They're thick, physical dudes. So they want that in this offense. And right now, Keon is easily the top dog in that threesome. I think it'll be interesting to see what role and how prominent that is on a week-to-week basis during the regular season.
Physicality is important at the catch point, but physicality is also important when it comes to yak.
Yeah.
Buffalo was so good at getting yak yards last season on offense. They ranked top 5 in the NFL. You would expect offensive coordinator Joe Brady wants that to continue in 2025 with a big body receiver like Keon Coleman, who came into this offseason looking more muscular. Our question for you today is, who or what will you have your eye on in this Saturday's preseason opener against the Giants? You can tweet at us or give us a call at 803-0550. The phone lines are open for you. We want to get into our news and notes and go around the NFL because there are some updates that Bills head coach Sean McDermott had in terms of player injuries and who would be in Saturday's game against the Giants. Around the NFL is presented by Clyde Health, the official healthcare system of the Buffalo Bills. And Coach McDermott started out Thursday morning's press conference by announcing a slew of players who would not be practicing. That list is as follows: Cedric Van Pran-Granger, Maxwell Hairston, Alec Anderson, Khalil Shakir, Cole Bishop, Curtis Samuel, Shaq Thompson, Caden Prather, Tyler Bass, Tylen Grable, and Taylor Rapp. I would expect that group not to be a part of Saturday's preseason game. We will see some of these guys like Khalil Shakir and Taylor Rapp are more of a week type of injury. Rapp is a new addition to the list with that knee injury, and Sean McDermott said he could be out give or take a week. In terms of the plan for Josh Allen, Coach McDermott said Josh Allen will not start or play at all in Saturday's preseason game against the Giants. McDermott did announce that Mitchell Trubisky will start in Allen's place. And Trubisky is somebody who is in his third year on Buffalo, and you can see the comfortability in this offense. Last year when he was on this team in the preseason, it was a little bit up and down, but this year he has put consistent stretches together where it looks like in the pocket he knows what he's doing. He has a good rapport with wide receivers. He can throw guys open. I'm excited to see Trubisky fight for that second quarterback spot this preseason in the next 3 games.
Brownie and I have been talking about whether is it going to be Trubisky, is it going to stay Trubisky, then Mike White, then Shane Buechele, or is it going to flip Mike White and Trubisky behind Josh? I don't know. You certainly want the best guy available if Josh goes down. But I do know that Trubisky, he was here once, went left, came back. I know that when he was here, Josh really appreciated him in the room,
right?
Helping him get ready, because I think they see the game and the offense and their options. I think they see it a lot alike, and Josh needs that in the room with him. But by the same token, he also needs somebody who, like a Mike White or whoever, who can play, but also who says, "Wait a minute, don't look at this over here." You know, a different set of eyes. So it's the quarterback room's job just to get Josh ready to play, which means they don't have to play or be ready to play. One of them does. They got to have one guy that can step in if Josh goes in to finish a game. Hopefully, when the Bills are up by 30 and Josh in a baseball cap, but you know, if something does happen to Josh, you got to have a guy that can play and run the offense. Trubisky's got some experience. He has played very steady in this training camp. It'll be interesting to see if there is any competition there at all for the number 2. I don't think there's any question Mike White and Trubisky are going to be in the building when camp finally breaks and regular season arrives, but we'll see what order they're in.
Trubisky was on the Bills in 2021, spent 2022 and 23 with the Steelers, back on the Bills last season. So this is his first time where he's had 2 years in a row in this system. That's shown out on the practice field. There's some balls where he has a beautiful touch to his throws. Trubisky said this offseason, I've been working on my rotation, on ball placement. I see that showing up in training camp already. He's impressed with how he's done so far, and he wants that to continue in preseason game number 1 against the Giants on Saturday. In terms of other injuries, Tasker, that are interesting for this point in the preseason, Tyler Bass is an interesting injury. He's been out for a chunk of training camp dealing with a pelvic injury. Coach McDermott was asked about what are you guys going to do in Saturday's preseason game because you need to have a kicker present. Right. We saw running back Ray Davis out there in the Return of the Blue and Red scrimmage as an emergency kicker, and McDermott was asked, Is Davis going to be in there on Saturday? Do you have anybody? Is Bass coming back? McDermott said, we had a workout last night with a couple guys. We'll see where that goes, but we need somebody in that kicker position.
They worked out a couple of kickers last night. I would anticipate they sign one of those guys, knowing that Bass's injury is not season threatening. So I don't think Ray Davis is going to. He might
go out there, man.
And it is a preseason game. They might just say, you know what, we're going for it.
We're not kicking
any field goals.
Yeah,
we're going to go for 2 on the extra points and work on our 2-point play. It's just not that big a deal. And we don't want to waste a roster spot on a kicker that has we don't want to make the team, let alone have a chance to make the team. So they could do that. I don't know if they will or not. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they do go in there without a kicker. And
we're going for it on 4th and 15.
Yeah. So what do you do?
Exactly. McDermott did say the starters will play about a quarter minus Josh Allen, so it'll be interesting to see which starters will be out there. There are some starters right now that are just injured or are coming back from injuries that you would think, hey, we're just going to give them some time before we throw them in a preseason game. I'm also interested to see what the plan is for Josh Allen in the preseason. You would assume that he's going to get a quarter or so in a game here, but Sean McDermott said, we'll see how it goes. We'll be in communication with him, and Josh Allen spoke to media today and was like, I'm going to do what my coaches tell me to do, and I believe in whatever the plan they have for me. McDermott said Allen's in a great place, and they feel like he's done what he needs to do throughout training camp, up until
I would imagine he gets some time against Chicago. He'll go in and take some live game reps, half 10, 12 snaps or so, maybe a quarter even, depending on how the possessions go. And then that'll be it for the preseason. It doesn't surprise me he's not going to play in this one. But I'll say this, that there are a couple, like you mentioned, there are a couple of starters. Is Spencer Brown going to take reps?
Right.
I mean, he's been back in.
Dawson Knox. He missed a little bit.
Exactly. Khalil Shakir's out with a high ankle. So is Elijah Moore, Keon Coleman, and Josh Palmer going to be the 3?
Yeah.
Probably. And on defense, Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop. So it looks like either Cam Lewis, DeMar Hamlin, Derek Forrest, Wande Owens, all those guys.
McDermott said DeMar Hamlin has been having a great camp. Cole Bishop has missed several practices, which is so unfortunate because here's a safety who was drafted a year ago early, and Buffalo has a plan in place to get this guy into the fold right away. Gets hurt preseason last year.
Yeah.
Missed a huge amount of time. Started in a few games last year during his rookie season. You're thinking, okay, this is the season that Cole Bishop is going to take over as a starting safety, and is now missing training camp practices in addition to Taylor Rapp, the guy you're supposed to be starting next to.
Right.
So then mental reps become so important for those two. McDermott was asked about what they're missing out on today, and he said, think about Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, how they had that invisible language with each other. That's what they're missing out on in practices where we're not yet installing week 1 and week 2 things. We're just trying to get on the same page as a defense.
Yeah, and you're right. Mental reps are important, but the Bills, they need somebody to take actual physical reps in the game. They need somebody to play. Neither one of those guys can get in and play. So that leaves them with 4 healthy safeties, or guys designated as completely as safeties. You could make a case that that Hancock, the draft pick, could slide back behind his nickel spot where he's backing up Taron Johnson. But you got to have 2 safeties to play, and neither one of those guys are available. It's an opportunity for these other guys. DeMar Hamlin has had a nice camp, no question. Cam Lewis. Derek Forrest seems like a pretty good athlete, but he's sitting 3rd on the depth chart. I don't know what that means. Yeah, the soft tissue injuries have been the story of this camp. The list has been very long. Nothing seems catastrophic, but it's affecting their ability to evaluate who and what they have as on defense and offense, on whatever their roster is.
It's enough to affect practices because McDermott said we tried to dial it back for a couple days. That has not worked, so we need to move on as a team and get ready for the season. That's the place that they're at right now.